Hello everyone, I'm Phil, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today I'll be diving into a reading of the story you probably know as Pandora's Box. But here's the twist. The original tale actually calls it Pandora's Jar. But why is that? In Hesiod's account, the object is a pithos, a large storage jar used in ancient Greece for grain or wine. When Pandora opens it, she releases disease, toil, suffering, madness, and every human misfortune, with only hope left inside. The story is largely the same, but this detail changes how we picture the tale. So why do we call it a box today? Well, that will be thanks to a 16th century mistranslation by Erasmus, who mistakenly changed pithos to pixis, meaning a box. The error stuck, and it does make a degree of sense as a divine container for all the evils that would befall humankind, and consequently popular culture has been calling it a box ever since. For this reading, I'll be sticking to the original, Pandora's Jar, and I hope mythology enthusiasts will appreciate that. Now let's get into it. Pandora and the Jar. For the gods keep hidden from men the means of life. Else you would easily do work enough in a day to supply you for a full year, even without working. Soon would you put away your rudder over the smoke, and the fields worked by ox and sturdy mule would run to waste. But Zeus in the anger of his heart hid it, because Prometheus the crafty deceived him. Therefore he planned sorrow and mischief against men. He hid fire, but that the noble son of Lepidus stole again for men from Zeus the counsellor in a hollow fennel stalk. So that Zeus, who delights in thunder, did not see it. But afterwards Zeus, who gathers the clouds, said to him in anger, "Son of Lepidus, surpassing all in cunning, you are glad that you have outwitted me, and stolen fire. A great plague to you yourself, and to men that shall be. But I will give men as the price for fire an evil thing which they may all be glad of heart, which they embrace their own destruction." So said the father of men and gods, and laughed aloud. And he bade famous Hephaestus make haste, and mix earth with water, and put in it the voice and strength of humankind, and fashion a sweet, lovely maiden shape, like the immortal goddesses in face, and Athena to teach her needlework, and the weaving of the varied web, and golden Aphrodite to shed grace upon her head, and cruel longing and cares that weary the limbs. And he charged Hermes the guide, the slayer of Argus, to put in her a shameless mind and a deceitful nature. So he ordered, and they obeyed the lord Zeus, the son of Cronos. Forthwith the famous lame god moulded clay in the likeness of a modest maid, as the son of Cronos proposed. And the goddess, bright-eyed Athena, girded and clothed her, and the divine Graces and queenly Pytho put necklaces of gold upon her, and the rich-haired Horai crowned her head with spring flowers. And Pallas Athena bedecked her form with all manners of finery. Also the guide, the slayer of Argus, contrived within her lies and crafty words and deceitful nature at the will of loud thundering Zeus. And the herald of the gods put speech in her. And he called this woman Pandora, because all they who dwelt on Olympus gave each a gift, a plague to men who eat bread. But when he had finished the sheer, hopeless snare, the father sent glorious Argus slayer, the swift messenger of the gods, to take it to Prometheus as a gift. And Prometheus did not think on what Prometheus had said to him, bidding him never take a gift of Olympian Zeus, but to send it back for fear it might prove to be something harmful to men. But he took the gift, and afterwards, when the evil thing was already his, he understood. For ere this the tribes of men lived on earth remote and free from ills, and hard toil and heavy sickness, which bring the fates upon men. For in misery men grow old quickly. But the woman took off the great lid of the jar with her hands and scattered all these, and her thought caused sorrow and mischief to men. Only hope remained there in an unbreakable home within under the rim of the great jar, and did not fly out the door. For ere that the lid of the jar stopped her, by the will of Aegis holding Zeus who gathered the clouds. But the rest, countless plagues, wander amongst men. For earth is full of evils and the sea is full. Of themselves diseases come upon men continually by day and by night, bringing mischief to mortals silently. For wise Zeus took away speech from them, so is there no way to escape the will of Zeus. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video. It is interesting reading the original translations, as some details appear to be lost to time, such as the mistaking the jar of Pandora as a box. But another thing has also surfaced that typically would not be taught in schools, particularly told to younger audiences. It is a well-known event in the tale that Hephaestus is essentially Pandora's father. But not only was this tale chronologically after Prometheus stole fire from the gods, giving it to humans, but it is in fact Zeus's response to that, showing him engage in even more vindictiveness. He commissioned the creation of Pandora, with a specific temperament and personality that she would be his instrument in the torture and downfall of all humankind, even laughing maniacally as he orders it. But what does this story mean, really? At its core, Pandora's tale is one of the earliest attempts to explain why life is the way it is, why we suffer, why hardship exists, and why humanity constantly seems caught between divine punishment and human curiosity. In this version, Zeus doesn't just react, he plots. Pandora isn't some innocent mistake. She's designed, piece by piece, to bring about the downfall of mankind. And yet, even with that cruel intention, the myth becomes something bigger than just a revenge story. Because Pandora doesn't just unleash misery, she also gives us the one thing that allows us to endure it: hope. In Hesiod's account, hope stays trapped in the jar when the lid closes. But in later interpretations, Pandora willingly opens it again, letting hope escape into the world. And that's an important shift. It turns Pandora from a mere instrument of divine punishment into someone who, even unknowingly, gives humanity its greatest comfort. And it's impossible not to see the parallels with other creation stories. The most obvious comparison is the story of Adam and Eve. You've got the first woman, curiosity, something forbidden being opened or taken, and suddenly the world becomes a place of suffering. Humanity loses its perfect existence because knowledge comes with a cost. Both stories pin the beginning of human hardship on a moment of curiosity, but they also show that this curiosity is what makes us human in the first place. And then you look at something like Frankenstein, which is basically a modern retelling of these old themes. Victor Frankenstein, like Prometheus before him, takes something sacred, the ability to create life, and uses it without understanding the consequences. The creature he makes ends up suffering for existing, and Victor suffers for creating him. It raises the same questions Pandora's story does. What happens when humans push their limits? Is curiosity a blessing or a curse? And do we create monsters, or do we create them by how we treat them? Pandora, Eve, Prometheus, Frankenstein, all of these stories circle the same idea, that suffering and knowledge arrive together, that curiosity opens doors we can't close, and that even in the worst moments, there's always one thing left in the jar, and that would be hope. And maybe that's the point. No matter what we unleash, no matter what mistakes we make, or what punishments the gods throw our way, humanity keeps going because hope always finds its way out into the world. If you enjoyed this reading and breakdown, feel free to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment with what you'd like to see next. Your suggestions will help shape future videos, and I would love to hear what stories you're interested in exploring. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.